In this video, I'm talking all about my favorite 5 pieces of video equipment that have really helped my video productions this year. So let's get into it. So number 1 is the Hollyland Mars X, which is inside this pouch. So the Hollyland Mars X is a wireless video transmitter, and as you can see, this thing is tiny. It has these small antennas that fold out, and you can add this onto your camera to allow yourself wireless monitoring. Now, unfortunately, this thing does not transmit to external monitors or TVs, but it does give you the option to transmit the signal to an app. So this means if you're on a video shoot with clients and they want external monitoring, then all you have to do is turn this thing on, power this thing with the USB-C port here, and then you just transmit the signal to an app, and there is really low latency, which means there's a small delay between the transmission and the receiving, but it's barely noticeable. And there's 2 really awesome things with using this on set. First of all, it makes you look professional. And second of all, it gives you an enhanced level of flexibility. So being able to hand a monitor to a client and say, here is what I'm filming, it really helps them to have more confidence in you and your work. It makes them know what you're filming is what they're looking for, and there won't be any doubt in the edit. If the client has seen the footage and they've signed it off and they've seen it being filmed, then there'll be less chance of them coming back to you in the edit to say, did you film this? Did you film that? Because they've seen everything you've filmed. They saw it filmed there on the day of production. So the Hollyland Mars X is a really low cost way of giving you wireless transmission on your video shoots. And honestly, the flexibility that gives you is incredible. So my favorite piece of kit this year, I think, has to be the Hollyland Mars X. Next up, we're going into Cinepacks, and I have the Cinepacks Full Crystal Kit and the Cinepacks Half Crystal Kit. So as you can see, these are just lens filter kits, and these are basically just intended to give you really cool lens effects. Now, of course, if you were shooting a corporate video or maybe something a little bit more serious, then you're probably not going to want these really awesome kaleidoscope inspired effects. But if you're shooting a music video or something a little bit more creative, then using these things in front of the lens gives you a really nice creative effect. Of course, you can overdo these. If you're using these in every shot, it's going to be a bit much, but using these every now and then in a creative way is really going to add extra flavor into your video. And I've used these on countless numbers of video shoots. I'll leave some links to videos in the description below where you can see examples of these. I would include examples on screen as B-roll, but I don't want to get in trouble with anyone and I don't want to have any copyright issues on this channel. So click out those links if you want to see those in action in my music videos. But as you can see from the brief examples on screen, you can see what these are capable, and these have given me really awesome levels of creativity in my music video shoots this year. So the Cinepacks Crystal Kit is definitely one of my favorite pieces of kit. Next up is the PD Movie Live Air 2, and this is essentially wireless focus. So this is the focus unit that attaches to the lens, and then this is the wheel that controls the focus. It is absolutely tiny. And the beauty of this system is it's all battery powered, and there's no wires linking these two together or linking this to an external battery. There's a battery inside of here, and you can pop 2 batteries into the bottom of here, which is the motor. And essentially you can mount this wherever you want this to go. So you can put this on your shoulder mount, you can put this on a gimbal, or you could pass this on to somebody, and they've got full control of the focus. So when you turn this wheel on here with your thumb, it's going to move the focus motor on here and pull the focus for you. Now, I've used a magic arm to mount this onto my gimbal, which means as I'm walking along, I'm able to change the focus of my shots as I'm moving, which means I can go from a wide into a close-up and not have to worry about focus because I've got full control. The problem is when you're operating a camera on gimbals and you don't have automatic focus, is you have to stay at a relatively similar distance from your subject. You can't go from wide to close-up because you'll get a blurry shot. Whereas when you have this, you can be really flexible and really creative, and it gives you some really awesome options when you're filming. So the PD Movie Live Air 2 has been honestly probably the most used piece of equipment besides my camera this year. Before I got the Live Air 2, I used to use the original PD Movie kit, and as you can see, it comes with cables, the motor's a lot heavier, and you have to plug everything in, and it gets really messy, and you just end up with wires absolutely everywhere. Plus, I found these cables started to become a little bit unreliable over time, so I've ditched this and I've just gone for the wireless system, and I haven't had any issues. Then next up, my fourth favorite piece of equipment this year is the Yongnuo YN360. And as you can see, I've got 4 of them mounted on the wall just on the side of me. So as you can see, with this light, you can have 3200 Kelvin light, you can have daylight, so you can turn 3200 down and have daylight, or you can go into RGB mode, and this means you have access to red, green, and blue. Now, unfortunately, this light is a little bit awkward to get the precise color, so you have 3 options when it comes to color. You've got red, green, and blue. So if you want green, you just pull green up to 100 and you have green. If you want blue, you pull blue up to 100. But if you wanted yellow, for example, then it means you're going to have to go into green, turn that up to 100, say. And then we'll go into red and we'll pull the red up a little bit until we get yellow. So this means when you're filming, you have to figure out roughly what colors you have to mix to get the color you want, which is a little bit awkward. But it is a really cool light, and it is around £90 on Amazon. And the really cool thing with this light as well is this is Bluetooth, which means you can connect a bunch of these lights together and control them at the same time. And there is also an app as well where you can control multiple different lights at the same time. Now, I've got 3 of my lights connected to Bluetooth back there. The 4th one's playing up a little bit, so it's not connected, but you'll see if I turn one of them off, 3 of them will turn off at the same time. So the reason why the Yongnuo YN360 video light is one of my favorite pieces of kit is because you've got great flexibility, it's really low cost, really durable. I've thrown this thing around so many times, and as you can see, it's been in the back of almost every single YouTube video, and I take this thing onto client video shoots all the time. I would say though that the video light is a little bit harsh for faces. Because it's such a thin light, it's not a wide light source, which means you can get quite aggressive shadows on the face. So generally, I would say if you're using this to light somebody's face, then I would put some diffusion over this. Or you could just use it in a creative way to bounce it rather than shining it directly onto someone's face to get a nice softer look. But the Yongnuo YN360 is possibly my favorite video light. It's really cheap, really durable, and it does everything you need it to do. And then my last recommendation for video equipment is the Tiffen Black Pro Mist filter. Now, I don't have it with me at the moment, and that is because it is on the camera lens. So let me just screw this off so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the Tiffen Black Pro Mist filter, and essentially what this is doing is softening up the entire image and just blooming the highlights a little bit. You'll see at the moment the image looks quite digital, it's a little bit sharp, the lights don't look very complimenting, but when I put the Pro Mist filter back on, you can see those lights are starting to flare a little bit nice. There's some nice blooming of the highlights. Skin tones look a little bit more complimenting. And this has been an absolute lifesaver on every single video shoot that I've had. When I first bought the Black Pro Mist filter, I took it on and off all the time, but eventually I realized I actually preferred the look of it on every single shot versus without. Now, you can get the Black Pro Mist filter in different intensities. You can go all the way up so that it looks really hazy and very dreamlike, which is very stylized, but I've got a very subtle number. I've got the 1/4 Black Pro Mist filter, and it's given me just enough to take this image up to the nice cinematic level that I want it to go up to without controlling the image too much. Now, you can get the Tiffen Black Pro Mist filter in different sizes, which means you can get a different one to fit your different lenses. Or alternatively, you could just get a larger one and then get a stop down filter to fit all of your lenses. But I find I do most of my shooting on my main lens, which is the Canon 24-105, which means I have the 77mm Tiffen Black Pro Mist for this lens. So I would definitely recommend looking into this if you just want to take that digital sharpness out of your footage and make it feel just a little bit more cinematic. And there you go. Those are my top 5 pieces of video equipment that I would definitely recommend. These are all tried and tested. I've used these on many different video shoots. I use the Pro Mist filter, the focus system, and the Yongnuo, and the Hollyland Mars X on pretty much every single shoot. And then these Cinepacks filters come in handy when I want something a little bit more creative. But all 5 of these are very highly recommended, so you'll find product links to all of these in the description below. And yeah, there we go. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate your support, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. See you there.